Baroness Christine Blower, Co-Convenor of the Freedom for Öcalan campaign and Patron of the Peace in Kurdistan campaign. Thanks for joining us today.
You're very welcome. I'm delighted to be with you.
Thank you. So, one of the latest developments is about Turkey's secret services that they're doing operations inside of the Iraq. So, as you know, the Xinjiang Azadi, woman life freedom, is a symbolic slogan of whole Middle East woman struggle now, especially in Iran. One of the main figures of Kurdish women's freedom struggle assassinated and killed in South Kurdistan city Süleymaniye. After the assassination, Turkish ambassador of Iraq talked to media in the Erbil city, and he accepted the assassination that have been done by Turkish Secret Service. He also said that anybody who is related or have connection to PKK is will be on their target as well. How would you like to comment on that first of all?
Well, let me say first of all that those remarks from the ambassador sound perilously like an approbation of state-sponsored terror. This is not the way a state should operate, and some of us have for a long time been engaged with and talking about and campaigning about the repression, suppression of women in Turkey and Kurdish women in particular, to the extent that it's basically femicide. And therefore this is completely unacceptable. The Turkish state and representatives of the Turkish state should not even be thinking these things, much less saying them. And it's simply unacceptable in international terms. We all know, I believe, that the PKK has followed many legal avenues to demonstrate its bona fides, and the Turkish government should frankly be engaging with the PKK, not seeking to eradicate it.
If Turkish Secret Services does these assassinations in Iraq, they can also do in Europe as well. As we know, in Paris, three women of the PKK Kurdish women's movement has been assassinated and killed as well by
Mm.
Turkish Secret Service. So basically. Mm, let's say, for example, don't you feel under threat because you work with the Kurdish movement as well? So, how would you like to comment on that? Isn't that makes you feel bad, which Turkish ambassador was telling?
Well, I have to say that I'm obviously in a much more privileged position than many women. But yes, of course, all women will feel under threat if they believe that the state that the state is sponsoring terror-based terrorist activities. It cannot be that a state can assassinate women or in fact anybody at all. So yes, I do feel in a more privileged position than others, but anyone could come under threat for supporting the Kurdish question.
Thank you, dear Christine. Secondly, the one of the main issues last week that happened was the CPT has visited the Imralı prison last week. Still, since last week, there is no any reports has been published from CPT, not any publications has been done, not any announcements has been done yet. So, what is your call to the CPT about on regarding about Mr. Abdullah Ocalan?
Well, of course, the CPT has both the luxury and the responsibility to visit Imrala prison. There are many of us who would want to visit Imrala prison, those of us who are engaged in campaigning, his family, his lawyers, and therefore what my call to the CPT is simply to make sure that they give an urgent update so that those of us engaged in the campaign have the most up-to-date information about the status of Abdullah Ocalan and what is going on Imbrala Island and in the prison.
Thank you. Also, Turkey has not changed. This is very important, actually. The right to hope is very important, and it's on the agenda of European Council as well. Turkey has not changed its laws regarding the right to hope. In response to the applications to change the law in Turkey, the government announced that Mr. Öcalan and three other prisoners has no right to hope. Isn't this a violation of international human rights as well as the Turkey's inner law as well? Because right to hope is for every prison and for every human being, but Turkey is saying that it's not for Mr. Abdullah Öcalan. How about you going to comment on that?
Well, I think that Turkey is often in violation of what we would consider to be international norms, even if they're not international laws. Of course, Abdullah Öcalan should have the right to hope. You know, I've been interviewed by you many times, Erem, and each time I come on and I say we must redouble our efforts to campaign for Öcalan's freedom because his freedom is so integrally linked with the freedom and a proper and peaceful and just solution for the Kurdish people. And every time our hopes are dashed, but we build back our hopes. And I am absolutely confident that Abdullah Öcalan himself has not given up hope. And therefore, we must hope on his behalf. And it is appalling that the Turkish state should be saying that he and indeed anybody else should have no hope. They must have hope and they must be free.
Thank you, dear Christine. Lastly, what is your call about freedom for Öcalan? Also, the isolation, the harsh isolation is still on Mr. Abdullah Öcalan, and it's been 24 years now. Last 18 months, uh, uh, he didn't. He didn't see his lawyers and his family as well. So, what is your call? What is your message about that?
Well, I think we all know that the conditions in which Abdullah Öcalan is being held are completely in breach of any kind of international norms and any kind of sense of appropriateness. He shouldn't be in prison at all. If he is in prison, he shouldn't be in isolation in the way that he is. And I certainly call upon the CPT to comment on this and to work hard to ensure that Öcalan is free at the earliest opportunity and that whilst he remains in prison, he is held in a considerably more humane fashion.
Dear Baroness Christine Blower, Co-Convenor of the Freedom for Öcalan campaign and Patron of the Peace in Kurdistan campaign, thanks for joining us. Thank you for your valuable comments.
I'm very pleased to have been with you today. Thank you very much, Sharon.
Thank you, dear Christine.